smart. Britton Colquitt was an 80. I guess he's probably in that. I mean, he was fine.
Had to confirm that Corey Allen was number 80 after all this, but yeah, he was.
There really is not. I have the full number 80 list now. There's not one big. I mean, Ramel Keaton is going to be the best number 80 ever at Tennessee.
Okay.
So there's where we're at. Not a lot of 80s for whatever reason at Tennessee and Georgia. Speaking of those Georgia Bulldogs, Matt Green, you picked up another defensive lineman commitment, a 4-star this week. What do you make of the latest addition to the Dogs in the recruiting trail this week?
Just keeping doing what they're doing, basically. I'm blanking on his name right now. Do you have in front of you Jordan Thomas? Is that his name?
Yes, Jordan Thomas, yeah.
Yeah, he's like 100th ranked player or so. I saw two different, I think 24/7 had him as like 6'5", like 295, but On 3 had him as like 6'5", 325. So I feel like a guy who's 325 coming out of high school, that's like a nose tackle. Like that guy's going to be huge. So I think he's more of a defensive end, defensive tackle, kind of playing in the outside of the 3. I want to say that's a 5 technique. In Georgia's system. But yeah, so I think he's just, the way I've heard him described is just like those athletic dudes on the defensive line is basically how Georgia's built the powerhouse program they've built, and he's another one of those. And so he's top 100 player from New Jersey.
Yeah, but the other one that, I mean, I'm sure you enjoyed over the weekend was Chauncey Bowens flipping from Florida to Georgia. So 4-star running back, 5'11", like 220, just all lower half. When you looked at him, it's like, oh, this is just going to be like one of those impossible dudes to tackle. Like Georgia, it's weird. They have a lot of depth when you're looking at the future. And I mean, this is probably the most uncertain Georgia's backfield has looked and during the Kirby Smart era, not in terms of talent, just in terms of a bunch of unknowns. Like it's just, you could see any number of guys popping and being the lead backer.
Well, I would say it's more of there's no star. So there's no one who's like just a stud, even as good as a Kenny McIntosh, I think. But I think all these guys are fair. Kendall Milton is just like, this guy's got to stay healthy. But I think Kendall Milton, you kind of know what he is. It's hard to know exactly what he is because he can't stay healthy, because, I mean, this guy could be a true workhorse potentially. But I mean, you've seen what Dejon Edwards is over a year and a half of getting ticks, basically. Like, he's good. He's not like a transcendent running back or anything, but he's a really solid player. And then Branson Robinson really flashed as a true freshman, and Chris Peel, I want to say, I think that was his name. He was also a true freshman now. Who was also a true freshman last year that was creating a buzz before he tore his ACL in fall practice. So I think they have a lot of dudes that can contribute. I think it's just like there might not be a star, but it's like running back also feels like that position that, like, I don't know if there's a wins above replacement, that it just seems very minimal, that just an average SEC running back, if you're giving them good holes, like, they can get yards.
Well, you didn't even mention, like, you have Roderick Robinson, who's a 4-star freshman, and I think he might play and might be in the fold there. I mean, he's going to be a really good player. And then Andrew Paul, another guy who got hurt last year, who I think Georgia...
That's who I was thinking. I said Chris Peel. Andrew Paul, that's the game I was thinking.
Well, I mean, when you look at that, that's 5 guys right there who could all be big factors. I mean, are you betting on Kendall Milton being the guy, or do you, like, if you had to bet right now who leads the Dawgs running back room in the fall, where are you leading at the moment?
That's a good question. By the way, Chris Peel is a safety that's coming into Georgia this year. He's going to be a true freshman. I feel like if I'm betting, it's hard to bet on Kendall Milton's health, because this guy has just been hurt so much. But he feels like the clear best running back in this current group to me. Like, Dejon Edwards seems like a nice piece, like a nice change of pace guy. But if Dejon Edwards is the leading rusher, for one, I don't necessarily think that's a good thing for Georgia. I think it probably means Kendall Milton got hurt at some point, or it means, there's a couple guys that are around 600 yards or something like that, and maybe he's the best one. I don't think Dejon Edwards leading means that he's a breakout, like, all SEC type of player. I feel like it's probably more of a downside. But I'm not going to bet on Branson Robinson. That seems like a hot take, but he seems like he's the best he seems like I did just say Kendall Milton was the best. I just couldn't. Branson Robinson seems like he has the highest upside. I should put it that way. Like dude runs hard, and he's built like a damn bodybuilder. So I don't know. I think. Oh man, I really don't know. I think I could see us Georgia with 3 guys all around 6, 7, 800 yards or something, kind of like they did a year ago. But I guess if I have to pick Kendall Milton, he should be the guy. I think that gets. If there's a candidate to have like a 1,000-yard season, I think it's Kendall Milton.
It's interesting. I'd probably go Branson Robinson and Deshaun Edwards as the third down back, is my guess. And then Kendall Milton being intermediate. When he is healthy one week, he gets featured. I just don't think there's at a certain point, like, we're now his senior year. Like, the dude, it's not like it gets better health-wise for running backs the longer they're hanging around.
Well, Zamir White, I mean, his senior year was definitely his best year, and he was a guy that was absolutely snake-bitten by injuries. So
that's a good point.
I think you're right, though. I think Branson Robinson does have a lot of potential. Like, and running backs, they don't last long, you know? So it's like you're not just going to like, oh, well, the guy is older, so he's going to play.